Hi, wrist guard is off. We put the watch back on. We're resting today, but guess what I'm doing right now? Look who's here. This is Peanut, and that's Coco. And they've decided that they want to eat here near me rather than anywhere else, so they're not moving. And over there, Rosie. What is it, Rosie? Who's coming out? Is there someone coming up? Is it your brother? Now. Come on, Peanut. Peanut is very flighty, and funny enough, it was Coco who would not even come anywhere near me, and now look at them. Quite content to just sit here and wait. Peanut is going back up into the lovely bedroom that they now have, all nice and clean and sorted out, isn't it? Are you going to go join your brother? Yes, you are. Oh, you like the mint, don't you, Coco? Yeah, I know. I grew that in the garden, didn't I? Good morning again. I've finished feeding the kitties and the piggies. It's time to harvest this friend of mine. As you can see, it's saying it's ready. Before, it was upright. Now it's like, I'm done. I've grown. This is supposed to be a shallot. But let's have a look at it. It's a huge shallot, isn't it? And look at the little roots. This is what has been making this guy grow so big. Look at it. Nice. This one will be used today. But I'll put it in the mini greenhouse for the moment so that it can stay safe. And look what I'll be having with it as well. Cucumber! Yep. And to top it off, we harvested some tomatoes. So, and look at that one. Oh, that's massive. Yes, we have plenty. Plenty. Right, let's put you here so you can stay with your other friends and dry out a little bit. Okay, so just keep them closed because at the moment it is raining a bit. Okay. Garlic is almost all gone. Next year, I'll do a full bed of it. Someone is using it very, and then not closing it, which will result in it getting moldy. Okay? Even if we're at the end of the growing season, I'm tempted to put, just do some seaweed feed for this plant. You see this yellow? It's a sign that I need some nitrogen. I want to be like my sibling here. You see the difference? This is a lack of nitrogen in this soil. Shop bought soil. Useless. So let me give it some nitrogen and it will be happier like its siblings. You see? This one here also needs a bit of a nitrogen feed. So I need to find my feed and make it up and give it to them. Weather is crappy, but it's not cold. It's just a little bit drizzly. So Stella can manage to do a few bits one-handed, I think. I've just made a support cage for my unruly cloned tomatoes. If you look at this guy here, ow. This really hurts, but hey, one needs to try and encourage the correct direction. Look, this is another sun gold. And what you have to understand about these ones is because this came from the mother plant there, it starts fruiting as soon as it got what it feels like are enough roots. So I don't remember when. I'll have to check and see when I put this in, but look, we've already got one truss there, a couple more trusses in there. Even this one was a derivative of, I think, one of those ones there, over there. And already it's also fruiting. So even if it's late in the season, nothing is stopping you from pushing some in the ground. What have you got to lose? I would push a few side shoots into the ground even at this point. And I don't cut off the top because I don't see any reason why. The fruit that's already old enough ripens when it needs to, and the one that is not old enough will ripen later. Let me just risk this. This is very dangerous, but this is the only time I can actually wrap this friend of mine around there. So, and then we'll take out this side shoot because I wanted one long stem, but I've not done too well because look at this. This is another stem here. I need to think where I can put it, and then I'll take it off. I'm going to prune this so it's not so overcrowded with leaves. It produces more leaves than fruit. But yeah, anyway, I was talking. This cage here is to hold this in because it was leaning. This sun gold was leaning downwards here this way. Ow. I took off my brace, but it's still a bit uncomfortable. So I'm going to harvest some beans. These will be lunch beans, and probably I'll take out some of the beans because some of them look like they're done with growing. Look at these ones. Look at the leaves on these ones here. These are my new French beans, and they're flowering, and we'll be having some beans soon. I think I'm going to kill off the okra because it hasn't done a thing and it's wasting energy. I've given everything a bit of a kelp feed. I found my seaweed, and so I gave them seaweed, all of them. Once I've refreshed this space, I'll think what I can add in here which will grow happily with the tomatoes that are already in there. We're going to be getting more fruit here as well, so I never stop. I only stop when true winter blight hits. When winter blight hits, then we're done with trying to propagate more tomatoes. Right, let me finish this cage. I think I'll try and do something similar with that one there. I bought a whole lot of these. They're a bit short for me. I thought I'd bought the longest, but obviously not. So I need probably like 220 to cope with the size of tomatoes and the plants over there, because I want to do something similar for the raspberry canes, to put them into their area and space and control them to grow upright rather than spreading all over. That tomato plant there also needs some support, but because I don't have the space, I'm wondering how. I think I might think of a way. These tomatoes are just beautiful the way they are. They're just beautiful. I do love them. Yeah, so they're fine. I gave these guys a bit of kelp feed as well, so we should see the Trinidad perfume leaves probably go a bit greener, like its sibling. Its sibling indoors has very green leaves, and I'd even forgotten that we had a Trinidad perfume still in the house. I thought I'd given them all away, but it's starting to fruit. This tomato, beautifully fruiting, and no, I am not going to take off any of the fruit. We get what we get, and if we don't get everything that we need, it is enough. See, that's the kind of tomato we're getting on there. I better stop. I gave this a kelp feed. I gave that a kelp feed. And these babies, look at this. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I am busy trying to stand my French beans up so that the beans that are produced do not end up. You see, this is another side shoot, and look, it's already flowering. And look at the size of it. It's not even that big. It's just a tiny little thing. But anyway, sidetracked. And this one. And look what I found. Say hello. Hello, aubergines. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, aubergines in there. You see? So this one is ready for harvest. So is this one. And that one in the back there. Because I'm not leaving them for slugs to party with. So my plan is to get those guys off of here. So I've had quite a few aubergines this year and I've actually eaten them. So that's a good thing. Well done, Stella. Boom. Okay, we are done with that. All I needed to do really was to just put in this front bit and then put a bar across. Make sure the guys are sat on there. Well, the raspberries, not the guys. I really feel bad because I haven't been able to water this one. But I'm hoping that a little bit of rain will help it. But it looks so much better now, more spacey. And I gave both of them a bit of a kelp feed as well. I feel like a very bad mother right now, so hopefully they will get better. But it looks good. It's lifted them up so they're not hanging downwards. I've put just with a one stake here, and that has worked to hold that one up. This guy here, I need to use my app, which I accidentally paid for a year, to identify why these leaves have that. That's all I do, is I just check what kind of nutrition deficiency this tomato has, and then it will carry on growing. It's growing absolutely fine even with the deficiencies, but I will double check and see what it is that's causing the problem. I've provided support for this one. I have an almost near casualty from trying to tell the tomatoes how to grow when they're perfectly fine, twisting it amongst each others. So as you can see there, hopefully it will not get any worse and the tomatoes will be harvested. I have another casualty the other end, but I haven't worried about it too much. But yeah, tomato jungle, this is what this is. And I do enjoy being here. I could easily just, oh, sorry. I'm so busy daydreaming. My next target, you see the sun keeps coming and going, is going to be sorting out the snails. The only thing about these quad grows is the fact that snails can actually sit just inside the pot and come out at night to eat. But I think the solution is to make sure that I harvest my strawberries as they ripen. So if you look in there, I don't know if you can see, let me squat down and see. That one is being eaten by a slug. I even saw the slug this morning, but I haven't worried too much about it. I'm going to take this one off today before it's eaten, and I'll watch these guys here and make sure that they get eaten before they get taken, before they're eaten. And these must be roly-polies, I would love, which I love because they help with composting, so I don't worry about them eating bits and pieces. And if I find that they've got stuff they're eating, I normally leave it there for them, because if you don't provide them with something they can eat without causing damage, then they'll eat whatever they can find. Plus, they'll only eat plants which are sick. Trinidad perfume. Today I think I'll do a beef stew and try some Trinidad perfume. Beef stew with aubergine, homegrown tomatoes, homegrown onion, shallot, and homegrown garlic. That'll be great. Yeah. Oh yes, and it will be time for me to get some of my celery. So I'll put some homegrown celery in that dish as well. Hopefully it will be as delicious as I'm imagining it will be. And I might put it in the slow cooker. We wonder. We shall see. I'm wondering if these carrots are ready, because what would be better than homegrown carrots? Shall we have a look? I don't normally do this, but these seem to be taking their time. Yeah, nah, they're still growing, so I'm not going to disturb them. I just saw that the top still has roots, so I'm going to just make sure that they keep being fed. And we need to take out these weeds coming up everywhere. either. So I actually find weeding rather soothing. So for me, every time I find a weed, it's an opportunity for therapy. So for me, it's not an irritation unless I feel like I'm a bit overwhelmed by it all, but rather a bit of therapy, because by the time I pull them out, I feel better. This one has a lot of foliage and not enough fruit, and yet it gets enough sun in the day. Wonder why. This is another side shoot, I don't know of what, but we have tomatoes. More tomatoes. I can't do my hedge, not with this wrist the way it is. Let's have a look at this. Ooh. Okay, when you come and find another surprise, look at that. Stella can grow. Oh, sorry. Ow, ow. Yum. Check this out. Yeah, Stella can grow aubergine outdoors in the UK with one of my self-watering systems. So what I've got is wicking material coming down. You can actually see it over here. It comes from the pot and goes down into here. This was just a basic container, which feels like it's almost empty. I need to make myself some water level checkers. And I know how to make them, so I'm just being lazy. But yes, so this has done well. And I mulch the top with anything I take from my grass cuttings. So normally, it's been raining, but the top is normally a bit dry, but I don't worry, because with all plants, the roots grow downwards. So when they realize that the moisture is at the bottom of the pot, that's where they'll grow to. But yeah, that's a win. As you can see, I gave up on the broccoli, sprouting broccoli here, not because it wasn't growing, but because I need to sort out a good and decent watering system for this space. I want it to be open, because when I look at that space, it makes me happy. So what I want is, I want this space to spark the same joy as Condomaria will say. And to achieve that, I don't want any netting. So netting will only be for the allotment. I'm going to set the pots up. I have an idea of how and what I'll have in here. And then once they're set up the way I want, I'll show you. But right now, with my wrist the way it is, that's not going to be a job for a while. I need to sort out what I'll grow here once the pots are beautifully set up with a watering system, reservoir being that one there, and I'll need another reservoir up here, and that is really for my raspberries. I also want a system where I can fill my reservoirs without too much effort, so that's going to take time. Like, that's a project for winter, and I think I know how it will be set up and achieved, but that's a winter project, and it will involve putting a reservoir similar to the one there, buying another of those drums or water butt, a slimline one that can actually fit in there. So I've got the height. I just need to be careful with the width, but I want a good amount, because then what I'll do is I'll use this reservoir to water the fig tree, the raspberries regularly, and then I'll set it up so that it can refill all these reservoirs here. As you can see, all my pots are sat on a reservoir. These reservoirs I want to change out because they're small. They create a pretty space, but I don't know whether it will matter if I manage to set up a watering system that doesn't require constant dragging of the hose pipe from one place to the other. If it works, it will be perfect, because even these guys here will be automatically refilled. The best size I've found is 30 liters and above for a reservoir, especially for tomato, because it will run for a long time. And with fabric pots, if you look at this one, you can see where the wetness ends. So it's wet in the bottom, dry at the top, and that's absolutely fine. That's the way you want it. Obviously with these it's more difficult to see, but the plant itself will tell you. They start to wilt a little bit and only go really, really bad, like my raspberry has when it hasn't been watered in a while and we've had hot weather. Mint is flowering, which we do not want, obviously. I'm feeding it to the guinea pigs actually, so I should have kept that on, because later on I'll take them some more mint. I'm babysitting some guinea pigs and they're getting mint for part of their food because they seem to like it. Okay, I hope I'm not poisoning them. All right, it's time for me to go sit down and do a bit of journaling. I love journaling, so I'm going to set up my journal. I also want to create a gift for someone who loves journaling but does a type of journaling that's slightly different to mine, and I want to create a gift for her. So that's another plan. Also, if I get energy, I need to start moving all these plants away from here. Everything that is around here. Lord. Dear. Because I want to get a gardener to come and help me cut this. And they can't cut it with all this rubbish in the way. That is a compost bag full of compost that I put in at the beginning of the year when I cleared the garden to start the growing season. So it probably needs to be turned, checked, and probably stuffed into those two composters down there, because I don't want to have too many compost bins all over the place. So they're saying that if I had a compost bin that big up here, set up the way these guys are, this could go into there, and then I would not have to worry about having too much in way of compost. And then these compost bags, which I cannot currently lift, also need moving. This is really dire. This is bad. How did I get myself in this situation? Because I wanted to put a shoe on. Anyway, let me go and do some journaling. Joy of joys. I'm finally sitting down. Okay, I'm sitting down and I'm going to be journaling. Yeah, so I just want to create a nice page on which to work with. Everything is a mess out here, but do you know what? I'm here to sit down, because if I don't sit down, I will end up sick. So I'm going to journal, you see, off. Watch is back on this side. I was wearing it on here. Anyone who wears their watch on the right hand side, I don't know how you do it, because for me this feels more natural. The sun keeps coming and going. We got a few cloudy bits, that some of which dribble a little bit of rain, but for some reason I want to be outdoors today. I just want to stay outside. So whatever I do, I have to do it outside. So I've got my pens, my washi tape, which I haven't taken out, but doesn't matter. I've got these. Anyone who journals will know this type of thing. So I have to create a nice page in my journal. Well, it's actually my bullet journal. It's another thing I love to do is I love to bullet journal. So currently this is my current month, as you can see. I haven't written much here, but that is what I actually work with. So I love it when it's pretty, then you use it. You see, I've created this idea of a Dutch door. and it will take me through the whole month, although I'm not doing another dash because there's not enough space. You see my to-do list, it runs out of space quickly, so I'm going to not do this again because it doesn't give me enough space. If I had a bigger book, it probably would be enough, but with this it's not enough. And then what I also do is anytime I think of anything, I just add a list and just keep going. So that's the niceness of a plain book like this, is you can actually just go on to the next page and start whatever idea you have. So here I can show you this one. This is, we're going to Crete in October, and what I found when we went to Berlin is, in Berlin, it was exhausting, and I hadn't planned because I didn't want to plan. I wanted to just go and explore. I thought I'd be able to explore gently, but my lovely husband likes to walk, and I mean walk. We were doing miles every day. So this time around when we go to Crete, I'm creating a list of things I would like to do when I'm in Crete. So I know what I want to do, and at the most, if we need to, we separate. He goes to do what he's planned and I go to do what I've planned. That will work absolutely brilliant. We got a beautiful hotel. I think I'll have to show you this hotel. It looks good on the, when you look at it on Google, it looks lovely. We've been in another similar hotel, same chain, but in Athens. That was very beautiful, very picturesque, arty, joyous to be in, made you smile. So I'm hoping this one will be the same, and if it is, I'll have to show you around because it's I can't wait. Even if my babies, these guys will be in the ground by then, and hopefully they'll be surviving. Okay, my watering systems will be set up beautifully and ready for my absence. At least it's not true growing season, even if I still had quite a few plants growing at that time. I had courgettes, I had some tomatoes still going because last year we had good weather then. Anyway, enough nattering. Let me have my cup of tea and I'll leave you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye. I was all set and ready to just go and do my journaling when I suddenly realized that my back garden tomato, which you can see here, sign that it's run out of water. Look at its reservoir, empty. So let me fill it up and then I'll show you how it works. As I went to try and get water, look what is so fascinating. These sugar snap peas, I thought they were done, and then the bottoms are growing again. See the things? Or enthusiastic, I should say. So let me just give them some water. I'm going to use rainwater to fill my reservoir, but because I'm only one-handed, I'm having to do it like this. So let me finish doing that and then I'll come back. Okay, so what I'm now doing is I put some water in here, and as you can see, you don't even have to buy that special wicking material. This is just one of those microfiber cloths. You can see I've got holes where the microfiber cloth goes in, and then I have another bit of microfiber cloth. So it's one microfiber cloth which I cut into 3 sections. First section is one, I cut it in half, and then the one half I divided into 2 so they can go into there, and then this third one, this other half, I left whole because it sits here like this, and that is what will get wet and then get absorbed by these fabric pots. This is the easiest way to do things. So what I'm going to do now is going to, you see already it's getting wet. It was totally completely dry and empty, and already you can see the water is being wicked up onto here, and then when I sit this pot on there, it will get wet as well, and because it's a kind of fabric, it will start to pull that water up. But to make life even easier, this is what I do. What I do is get myself some water, pour it all over that. It will do two jobs. One, it will wet that cloth even more. Two, when I put this pot back on, which I will do in a minute, it will also get wet and absorb more water. So let me do that now. Okay, the pot is now back on and Stella is tidying it as she goes along. These are the tomatoes I'm trying to provide plenty of support for. So what I've done is I've also added a bar here so that I can tie this tomato to there if it decides to grow any bigger or any taller. So what I need to do is I need to add some water to it because it's been without water. I noticed this yesterday, but my hand wasn't good enough to do that. So as you can see, it's a fabric pot, so if you put too much water, it just runs out. But what it will do is it will wet the soil enough and the bottom of the pot enough, and it will start to pull up the water, and you will notice the area of wetness will change as water is sucked into there. But yeah, this is now going to perk up and go back to looking the way it did. Within about 10-15 minutes it will be fine.